Guys, please check your audio and video settings. Yes. Yesterday I was talking about how to arrange Hibernate in our system. If you are using Maven Gradle, they will be downloaded. Jars will be downloaded dynamically. That's why, okay. Jars will be downloaded dynamically. Jars will be downloaded dynamically. But if you are not having Maven Gradle support, okay, you have to arrange Hibernate framework as a zip file by downloading from certain URL, and extracting that zip file is nothing but what? Installation of Hibernate. Okay. Initial few days we don't use Maven Gradle. So that's the reason we have to arrange Hibernate framework. Okay. Okay, boss. Right. Next, when you install, you will get some important files and directories. Okay, number one, changelog.txt to know which version is released in which year. Documentation folder that gives API documentation and reference document. Lib folder, lot of jar files will be there. Project folder will give utility file, classes, source code, sample applications, and what projects. After that, we have seen the definition of Hibernate, boss. Definition of the Hibernate. I want definition of the Hibernate. Let's see. Hibernate is an open source, lightweight, portable, non-invasive, and integrated or integrable, uh, Java-based ORM framework or tool that is given based on JPA specification rules and guidelines to develop objects-based OR mapping persistence logic. These are the wordings, you use it. So you may use your own vocabulary, but these words should be highlighted. First, we understood what is open source. Along with Hibernate installation, we will get the source code. That's why it is open source. It's not only free, you also get its source code. Next, lightweight. Next, what lightweight? Hibernate installation comes in the form of zip file having less size. So that's why lightweight. To execute Hibernate code, we don't need any heavyweight web servers and application server. Basic JVM and Hibernate jars, nothing but libraries, are sufficient to work with Hibernate to activate and use Hibernate. Come on. So that's why it is called lightweight. Okay, boss. I'll give one more reason. By creating object for configuration class. Listen here, it's a one predefined class. If you want, I will give package also. org.hibernate.cfz.configuration. By creating object for configuration class, we can activate or bootstrap. Bootstrapping means starting. Bootstrap Hibernate anywhere. Bootstrapping. Are computer booting, boss? Computer booting. Yeah, same thing. Okay, bootstrap. We can activate our bootstrap Hibernate anywhere. Next one, portable. Hibernate persistence logic is fully object based, no SQL queries. So that persistence logic is portable across the multiple database softwares. Hibernate is invasive. In that process, first we discussed about what is in. Hibernate is non-invasive. Hibernate is non-invasive. In that process, first we discussed what is invasive programming, what is non-invasive programming. In invasive programming, the classes of our project, the classes of our application are tightly coupled with underlying technology or framework APIs. That means our application classes should implement or extend from underlying technology or framework API interfaces or classes. Underlying technology, framework or technology API interfaces are what? Classes. So that means they are tightly coupled. That means they are tightly coupled. That means these classes cannot be moved to another framework. So they should develop for one framework and one technology. Forever you should stay in that technology and framework. So it's something like this. It's something like this. It's something like this. Invasive programming says, a programmer, you have chosen one technology or framework. Come to that. Develop application there and forever stay there only. Don't dare to move to another technology or framework. You want to change your classes to another framework, another technology, you cannot move. Why? Your classes are what? Implementing or extending underlying technology or framework API interfaces. So that's why you have to make those classes forever running in the same technology or what? Same framework. Same technology or same framework. Non-invasive program, exactly reverse. Not tightly coupled here. Okay. Not tightly coupled here. That means application classes are developed as ordinary classes without implementing framework API interfaces and without extending from framework API classes. Similarly, technology API interfaces and without extending from technology API classes. They are ordinary classes and ordinary interfaces. Are you understanding my point there? So in the middle of the development, in the middle of the project, if you don't like existing one, you can take these classes, you can work with another framework. I already said some real life example also. Invasive programming is like joining in the company with bond, lifetime bond. If you like or not like, you have to stay in the company. Non-invasive programming is like joining in the company without bond. Okay, company says, a employee, come and join with us. As long as you are comfortable, stay with us. You don't like your karma, go. I don't have any problem. Your karma, you go and give your knowledge to other company. I don't have any problem. Okay. And invasive programming example, marriage relation between boy and girl. Once committed, it is a 60 years project. Okay. Once committed, it is what? 60 years project. Non-invasive programming. What is next? Non-invasive programming. What is that? Non-invasive programming. Okay, living together, living relationship kind of thing. Okay, so how long they are comfortable, they will stay. Okay, if they are not comfortable, they will separate. So that kind of programming is what? Non-invasive programming. Hibernate all versions, Spring all versions, Spring 2 Struts 2.x. Okay, various implementation of web services. All those things comes under what? Non-invasive frameworks. Non-invasive frameworks. So then what is this? Integratable or integrated. So now let me talk about integrated or integratable. Integratable. Yeah, now listen here. We can write Hibernate persistence logic in any kind of Java application to make it talking to database software. to make it talking to database software. By writing Hibernate persistence logic in what? Standalone application, we can make standalone application talking to database software. By writing Hibernate persistence logic in what? Web application, we can make web application talking to database software. We can write in distributed application to make the distributed application talking to database software. Are you getting my point there or not there? We can make any application talking to database software by using Hibernate persistence logic. So that means it is easily integratable or not. It is easily integratable, okay, in different types of applications. One minute. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Well, I think admin people have done some mistake, it seems. Am I audible now? Yes. Now come back. Everyone come back. I think by mistake they have muted everyone, it seems. Okay. Right. Integratable. We can place Hibernate persistence logic in different types of we can place Hibernate persistence logic in different types of Java applications. Different types of Java applications to make them interacting with database software. To simply make them interacting with the database software. So like we can place Hibernate persistence logic in standalone Java application, in web applications, in distributed applications, and etc. Okay, and etc. This makes Hibernate persistence logic uh, as easily integratable logics. With different Java technologies and frameworks, and also in different types of applications. With the different Java technologies and frameworks and also in different types of application. So that is the meaning of easily integratable. I think remaining words you already know, boss. Remaining words you already know so easily. What are the other words? Java based ORM framework. What is OR mapping? I already explained. Framework, I think we studied multiple times, right? It provides abstraction on technologies and simplifies what? Application development. Okay, it is also called a tool that is given based on JPA specification rules and guidelines to develop objects based OR mapping persistence logics. I think we covered all the terminologies that are there in the definition. Are you understanding my point there? Yes, Hibernate also can communicate with the different databases. That's not an issue at all. That is not an issue at all. Now, I would like to give high level architecture of high level architecture of high level architecture of Hibernate. High level architecture of Hibernate. Okay, cool. Here is my G drive. Okay, I will give. Why Hibernate is called as Hibernate, I will give. Don't worry. Fine. First, let me show this. Hibernate, I think E drive have installed other day. Hibernate 5.4.18. That's cool. Here, documentation, user guide, nice. HTML user guide. We have one diagram. I just want to show that diagram. Yes, this is my, what is this? This is my high level architecture diagram of Hibernate. So is there any chance of copy pasting this diagram? Yes, copy this, copy image, fine, say paste, bring here. Yes, boss. Now listen. What is this data access layer? Nothing but our DAO class, boss. Generally, in real time, while developing layered application, our DAO class contains persistence logic. Na? DAO class contains persistence logic or not there. So this is simply nothing but our DAO class. Okay. DAO class. DAO class, which color will be highlighted, maroon color will be highlighted. Fine. Okay. DAO class. We'll listen here. We'll use Java Persistence API or Hibernate Native API. Java Persistence API or Hibernate Native API. Java Persistence API means common in all ORM frameworks. So that when you move to another framework also, you can use same code to talk with the database software using other framework. Instead of Hibernate, we can use other framework. Okay, if you use Hibernate Native API, that code will not be used when you move to another framework. So why they have given two options? I will tell. Hibernate supports common features that are there in JPA. Hibernate is having its own features. Hibernate is having its own features. To work with Hibernate direct features, you have to use Hibernate Native API. To work with common features, you have to use Java Persistence API. Come on. Java Persistence API. I already said one important point. First Hibernate came, it has become huge popular. By seeing Hibernate, IBTs came, it also become popular. Then Sun Microsystem realized we don't have control on these ORM softwares. Let's design one specification called JPA. Let's design one specification called JPA. So in that particular situation, Hibernate has got some extra feature which are not decided in what JPA. JPA is having 10 features. Hibernate is having 2 features. That means those 10 features can be used through JPA. Are you understanding my point there? Those 10 features can be used through what? JPA. And those 2 features can be used by using Hibernate, plain Hibernate. Plain Hibernate. But I recommend you people to avoid those 2 features utilization. So that's why we don't mind still calling Hibernate as what? Non-invasive only. Non-invasive only. API means code, yeah, working with classes interface to write the code. How we write JDBC code, how we write IO streams logic, similar to that. Similar to that. I am talking about that code only. Are you clear? So that internally uses Hibernate framework, and Hibernate framework internally uses what? JDBC, and it will talk to database software. Are you understanding my point there? Okay, boss. To use common features of Hibernate that are implemented based on JPA specification. Use JPA, Java Persistence API. Use JPA based program to use direct features of Hibernate, okay, which are not there in JPA specification. Then use Hibernate native API, original Hibernate native API. Hibernate native API. I'll take one small example here. Filters is one concept, not Servlet JSP filter. Hibernate is having one concept called filter. Filter concept is not part of JPA specification, but it is there in Hibernate. Okay, it is there in what? In Hibernate. Are you understanding my point there? Sir, if you non-invasive, then how you get those two features? How you get those two features means they are not quite popular. That's why I'm asking not to use. We will study more about DAO in the coming classes. Don't worry. When I start the programming, I will give more details about DAO. For the timing, you remember, it is a class that contains persistence logics. It's a class that separates persistence logic from. You can use both also at a time. What? Persistence API code and Hibernate API code. Both also you can use at a time. Okay, but my suggestion is better to avoid direct features and better to use what? This. Akshay Kumar Buse is asking why JPA has given rules but Hibernate has got its own code. To get control on all ORM framework, JPA has come. But compared to JPA, Hibernate is having more features. Are you understanding my point? Mr. Shayan goes, if you wait few days, you only will be knowing which is direct, which is not direct. If you excite, it won't come. Okay. Right now, I'm taking one example. There is a concept called filters. Filters are there only in Hibernate, not there in JPA, Java Persistence API. Are you understanding? So that time you have to use Hibernate native API only. For example, there is a feature called inheritance mapping. What mapping? Inheritance mapping. That is there in Hibernate, also there in JPA. Based on JPA specification only, Hibernate also providing implementation. Come on. That time prefer to use that feature through JPA, not with native API. Common features go for JPA API. Specific feature go for Hibernate native API. Is that clear? Right. You will get more clarity when I start programming. Okay. So final conclusion is DAO contains JPA code or Hibernate code or JPA based Hibernate code, whatever it is, that internally activates Hibernate framework. Hibernate framework internally activates JDBC code. or generate JDBC code. Using JDBC code, it will talk to database software. It will talk to database software. Everyone convinced with me? Come on. Everyone convinced with me? Why Hibernate is named as Hibernate? Why the Hibernate is named as Hibernate? Why Hibernate is named as Hibernate? Yeah, this is the one framework which is having some technical meaning for it. Which is having some technical meaning. Okay, remaining all names came just like that. Oh, Java Island name. James Gosling felt he consumed a lot of TR coffee that came from Java Island, which is there in Indonesia, and that's why he has given name called Java. He felt, okay, spring is a season name. Somehow the creator of spring liked spring season in the Nepal when he visited Himalayas. When he has visited Himalayas, somehow he felt in love with what? Spring season. Spring season that is there in the Nepal. That's why he named it as what? Spring. Okay. But nowadays, anyhow, people are using in all seasons. Though it is in season name, but people are using in all seasons, right? But Hibernate is not like that. There's a technical name behind it. Okay. Technical name behind it. Akshay Akhare. Did I say there is no meaning for Hibernate? Please, Ra Babu, don't listen the class with preoccupied mind. Did I say there is no meaning for Hibernate? No, there is a meaning. I said there is a technical meaning. After giving this statement also, you typed Hibernate has no meaning, means you are not listening class. Please don't listen the classes with preoccupied mind. You assume something. If I try to shout off 1 hour also, you don't understand. Why? You already said something in the brain. Don't do that mistake. Why some people feels learning complex? They will listen the class with preoccupied mind. Before I introduced also, come on, you already thought something about that topic, not going to work out. So listen with open mind, listen with free mind. Okay, if you have a little knowledge of Hibernate, remove it and hand over your empty brain to me. I will take care of that. Hand over your empty brain to me. I will take care of that. Are you understanding my statement? Fine. Okay, listen carefully. Why the Hibernate named as Hibernate? This guy take, Arey, I know you are Indian, you love Indian culture, but does not mean everywhere you can introduce Indianism. Everywhere you can introduce Indianism. It is not going to work out. Java came from Java word. It's a Sanskrit word. Meaning is what? Barely. First of all, tell me, James Gosling knows Sanskrit? James Gosling visited Indiana? Or any of his team members are Indiana? Why are you assuming your own stories, Ra Babu? Just now I have explained. Don't listen the class with preoccupied mind. I said it is an island name. No, he is not ready. Okay. Okay, boss. Fine. Why Hibernate is named as what? Hibernate. Okay, boss. You create your own stories. I will tell the story what I know. Okay. I don't have any problem. Let's go back to the subject. Yes. Listen here. There is a term called hibernation. Hibernation. Polar bear, ice bear, polar bear. which stay in north, North Pole, extreme cold. North Pole will be having extreme cold, minus 30 degrees, minus 25 degrees. That much temperature will be there, right? Uh, in that place, food is available for 6 months. For other 6 months, food is not available. So this ice bear animal will eat food, full food for first 6 months, okay, and will keep the food in the body, will reserve the food in the body, and it will try to utilize that food. Okay, try to utilize that food in the next 6 months when food is not available. Okay, this process is called hibernation. This process is called hibernation. Are why all these things in our Indian mythology, Indian history, we have Kumbhakarna. You might have heard about Kumbhakarna, right? Heard or not heard? Yes. Kumbhakarna also what he will do, boss? He will eat for 6 months and he will sleep for 6 months. When he is sleeping, he will use the food that is there in your body as a reserved food, right? Yeah, the same story here also. So that is also called hibernation only, na? That is also called as what? Hibernation. Why? Yes or no, na? Yes. Similarly, if you observe hibernate programming, okay, if you observe hibernate programming, okay, records are there in objects. Records are represented by objects. That means records are holding what? Objects. So records data is there in objects, and these objects will be maintained in cache. These objects will be maintained in cache, and they will be updated only once in a while. Are you understanding my point there? Okay. Those objects will be updated once in a while. So that is also some kind of hibernation. Hibernate cache part represents the records into objects and will try to utilize the objects again and again, but they will be updated once in a while. So this is also looking and sounding like what? Hibernation process. So that's the reason they named it as what? Hibernate. They named it as what? Hibernate. Got it or not there? Fine, boss. If you are using some laptops here, so there will be option of sleep, there will be option of shutdown, there will be option of hibernate. Sleep and hibernate both looks the same only. Okay, so sleep and see here I have option that sleep is there, shutdown is there. What's the difference between shutdown and sleep here? In sleep, it will remember the state of the computer. Yeah, sleep mode, hibernate mode is same. Okay, boss. So in sleep mode, it will remember the state of the computer. It will be remember state of. When I switch on the computer next time, it will give all my applications back from the state where they are being stopped, right? We can continue those applications from the state where they are being stopped. When it comes to shutdown, every application you should start from scratch level. Suppose 1 hour gap I got to conduct the classes, so I never shut down my computer. I will keep my computer in sleep mode so that after 1 hour I can continue my work from where I stopped. I can run my application from where they are stopped. There is no need of launching application from scratch level. In your life, in multiple places, you have seen the hibernation, boss. Okay, that's why. What should I say? It is given based on hibernation word. Hibernation word. The way hibernate programming represents DB table records through objects. through objects and keeps them in cache and keep them in cache keep them in cache mm, cache looks like hibernation. So so this framework is called as Hibernate. So this framework is called as Hibernate. So this framework is called as Hibernate. Everyone understood my point there or not there? Come on, guys. Right, boss? Now listen here. Hibernate configurations. Configuration. What do you mean by configuration? Giving instructions to giving instruction or information to giving instruction or information to underlying container or server or framework or JVM. Are you getting my point there? Giving instructions or information to underlying container or server or framework or JVM is called configuration. Are you understanding my statement there or not? Yes. It can be done in two ways, boss. XML driven configuration. Okay, XML driven configurations. Okay, old used only in maintenance projects. But the headache part, maintenance projects. Maintenance. Okay, maintenance project. What is the headache? 70% of industry projects are maintenance projects. Only 30% projects are new projects. So we have to keep ourselves ready for both maintenance projects, and also for what? New projects. Understanding my statement there or not there? Number two, annotation driven configurations. Latest used in all projects, especially new projects. Fine. So but I'm going to teach both modes of Hibernate programming, boss. Both modes of Hibernate programming: XML driven configurations, annotation driven configuration. We are going to study both. Main focus will be on annotation, but plan is like this: first few days XML, then we'll introduce annotations. Okay, later every topic first will be discussed through XML and will be converted into annotations. Okay, I heard one two faculties saying that XML gone, don't waste time. Okay, no, they are just bluffing. XML is still not gone here. In maintenance projects, still it is there. Okay. Understanding my point. It's still maintenance projects, it is still there. Okay, and in some advanced applications also, in special situation, you have to take the support of XML. You have to take the support of XML. So yes, reduce its utilization, but don't use the word called outdated, gone, no more, legacy. No, no, no. Don't use such kind of words. Maybe legacy you can use. Okay, old still doing good. Okay, old still doing good. So sometimes we need both also. Right. Don't worry if you don't know XML also not a issue. We will learn dynamically. You know HTML, Mr. Azai, that is enough. You know HTML, Mr. Azai, that is enough. Are you getting my point there? Listen, boss. Some people are logging with device names. Some people are logging with device names, and it is becoming horrible to pronounce those names for me. So, for example, take this guy here. Tell me how, if he asks the question, how can I respond, Ra Babu? What should I take your name? What should I take your name? How can I address you when I'm clearing the doubt? So, tomorrow onwards, if you are logging with device names or zigzag names or nicknames, which I cannot pronounce, don't expect I should answer your questions. Don't expect I should answer your questions. Are you understanding my statement there or not there? Okay. So please log in with your original names or at least some name which I can pronounce. Mr. Dolly. Mr. Dolly. It's your nickname. It's him. Change it. Come with your original name or somewhat meaningful name. Dolly. Nice. Okay. What is next one? This PC. All these are not going to work out. Okay, all these are not going to work out. I am telling very seriously to you people. Fine, na? Okay, fine. Because I generally take the names of the people when they ask the question. Sir, I will take zigzag name. I will ask any question of my choice. Okay, I will irritate you. Not going to work out. I will ignore the question. If still not changing your attitude, one day I will remove them also. Fine, no problem, no problem. Tell with your own identity or somewhat meaningful names. Fine. Right here. So let's come back to application development. Components in Hibernate programming. Components in Hibernate programming while working with XML driven configurations. While working with XML driven configuration. To develop distributed applications, Spring Hibernate NFA web service also required. Web service is required. Yes, if we can use Spring microservices, yes, without using web service, you can develop distributed application. Right. Everyone, please come back. Components in Hibernate programming while working with XML driven configuration. Fine, boss. Let's have a look here. Yeah, DAO class. DAO class having persistence logic. Class having persistence logic. Class having persistence logic. And this class will be used by other people. That's not an issue here. Okay, boss. Here we are having entity class. Right, today I'm taking everything one copy here, but I will give clarity how many are required in one application. What class here? Entity class. also called as persistent class, persistence class, also called as model class, also called as domain class, also called as domain class. Sir, array whatever it is, overall it is a Java bean. Are there any guys who don't know what is Java bean? Are there any guys? I think everyone knows what is Java bean. What is Java bean? Everyone knows it. Okay, now listen. One, two no's are there. One, two no's are there. I will give something to read. Something to read. YouTube.com/NareshIT. Go to playlist session. Go to playlist session. In this playlist session, yes, we are having. Yes, we are having. In this place, we are having Hibernate. In this Hibernate, listen. In this Hibernate, array, somewhere I have to talk about Java Bean, boss. Java Bean. In which videos I kept, boss? In which videos I kept? 1 minute, I'll paste the URL. I'll paste the URL, don't worry. Java Bean, Java Bean. Yes. Java Bean and its utilization in the real time. Java Bean and its utilization in the real time. I'm pasting this URL to you people. Okay. I'm pasting this URL to you people. So I'm also pasting here for Java Bean. Okay. For Java Bean. Right, boss? Everyone, please watch that video once. Please watch that video because lots of people already studied that. Lots of people already studied what is Java Bean in Spring class, Advanced Java class. 99% people already studied. Okay, fine. So 99% already studied people either in Advanced Java or in Spring. Okay. So if you are not studied in Advanced Java, you are going to study. If you have not studied in some other batch, you are going to study. Got it or not there? So 1-2% outsiders are there. They are saying that they don't know Java Bean. No problem. I have kept a clear-cut explanation in those videos. By tomorrow or day after tomorrow, please make sure that you are going to study about that. You are going to study about that Java Bean. Very clearly, I have explained in the video. Just watch it. Just watch it. Similarly, one more thing is there. Sir, you are saying that the Hibernate is a framework, but you only said that Java is having language, Java is having technologies, Java is having frameworks. What is the difference between all the things? What is the different among all the three things? Which is called language, which is called technology, which is called what? Framework. What is the difference between all the things? Actually, this we studied in Spring course and other courses also. So whenever time permits, whenever I conduct that class, again I invite you people to come and join there. To come and join there. It's not like that. But if you want to know bit early, if you want to know bit early, I want you people to even watch one more video. One more video. One more video, because I don't want to see people feeling same thing is repeating again and again. It is only for those 1-2% people. Okay, Only those 1-2% people who have not taken my advanced Java sessions, my Spring sessions, are still not started my Spring session. So for them, I am giving this option. For them, I am giving this option. Okay, na? Right. Don't worry. When I conduct that topic for other batches, I will call you also. I will definitely call you also. Fine. Where is this? Hibernate. Hibernate. Yes. Look at this. Programming language versus software technology versus framework. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Total 3 parts are there in that discussion. Small videos only. 29 minutes, 26 minutes, 31 minutes. Are you understanding my point there? So in core Java, you will learn language part. Okay. Next, in advanced Java, you will be learning technologies, and every framework will teach one framework. So these are the 3 videos that we have to concentrate. So I will copy this. I will paste to you people. Okay, there is a 5th video. Try to watch 6th, 7 also. 6 and 7 videos also. Okay. Comma 6, comma 7. Otherwise, pipe symbol 6, pipe symbol 7. For language, comma, technology, comma, framework knowledge. Framework knowledge. It's not like that I'm not teaching. When I conduct these topics as common topic for other batches, I'll invite. But but already videos are there. Please go and watch. Please go and watch. Okay, na? Right. Fine, boss. Anyhow, you will get to know. You will get to know. Don't, here there will be entity class kind of thing. Okay, boss. After that, we are having some hibernate setup, hibernate environment. Hibernate environment. Okay, fine. In this place, there will be one file called Hibernate configuration file. Hibernate configuration file. Generally an XML file. What file here? XML file. Next, there will be one more file called Hibernate mapping file. Hibernate mapping file. This is also an XML file. This is also an XML file. Here is our database software. Here is our database software. Fine, boss. What actually happens? What actually happens? Here also some XML entries are there. Okay, boss. This DAO can be there. Okay, in this place I will write. This DAO can be there. Can be there. Can be there in Java based Servlet JSP web application, starts application. Okay, starts application, Spring application, Spring Boot application, Spring Boot application, standalone application, and etc. But any application should be there in Java. This DAO class, whatever class is there, it can be part of standalone application. It can be part of web application. It can be part of struts application. It can be part of Spring application. It can be part of Spring Boot application. It can be part of web service component. It can be part of Spring MVC application. Any permutation and combination here, but should be Java based. Should be Java based. I hope you are convinced with my statement. I hope you convinced with my statements. Come on. This DAO can be there in Java based Servlet JSP web application, Struts application, Spring application, Spring Boot application, web service component, Spring MVC application, standalone application. Only the condition is they should be Java based. They must be Java based. Okay. What actually happens? I will tell now. Listen. Number one. Number one. Number one. Okay. Number one. This one. Activate Hibernate framework. If I use somewhere HB, you feel that it's a Hibernate. Activate Hibernate framework. This is the first one that will happen, boss. This is the first one that will happen. Listen carefully. Activate Hibernate framework. Yes, this activated Hibernate framework. This activated Hibernate framework. Are you getting my point there? Will use various setup that is there in Hibernate environment. Will use various setup that is there in Hibernate environment and develops what? Objects based persistence logic. Okay, what is this? OR mapping persistence logic. What logic here? OR mapping persistence logic. Okay, fine. Activates Hibernate framework. The activated Hibernate framework will take the support of what? Various resources of Hibernate environment. Okay, and it develops what? Objects based OR mapping persistence logic. Will take the support of various configurations done in what? Hibernate environment, like entity class or Hibernate configuration file or Hibernate mapping file, various Hibernate configuration, and develops objects based OR mapping persistence logic. Right. This OR mapping persistence logic talks to database software. OR mapping persistence logic will talk to database software by taking the support of JDBC internally. By taking the support of JDBC internally. Understanding my point there. So, and will manipulate, will not talk directly, boss. Hibernate has to internally use JDBC. Fine. And will manipulate database data as usually. Will manipulate database data as usually. Maybe select operation, select, non-select operation, non-select. At the end, results will come back to DAO. Results will come back to client application. Are you understanding my point there? This is going to be E. This is going to be E. Oh, fine. I got it. I understood my problem. Here F, here E. Here E. This is the basic plan, boss. This is the basic plan. Using while developing these logics, we definitely will try to use what? Hibernate APIs or JPA APIs. Hibernate APIs. Hibernate APIs. We will definitely try to use from Hibernate API. Hibernate IPA plus JPA also. Sometimes we also use JPA APIs. What APIs? JPA API. This is the actual story that happens. Actual story that happens. Okay. Right. Once again, see this. Number one, using Hibernate API, it bootstrap Hibernate. B, okay, bootstrapped Hibernate takes Hibernate configurations as inputs. Hibernate configurations as inputs like configuration file, mapping file, entity class. C, using using Hibernate API, objects based OR mapping persistence logics will be developed. Objects based OR mapping persistence logics will be developed. D, okay, this OR mapping persistence logic internally takes the support of JDBC to generate SQL queries and to perform persistence operation. Okay, boss. So these JDBC generated SQL queries will manipulate database data in database software. F, final results come back to what? DAO class of the application. DAO class of the application. Come on. So DAO class is a Java class that separate persistence logic from other logics of the project and makes that persistence logic as a reusable logic and flexible logic to modify. So let me denote one by one. Let me denote one by one. DAO class. We'll discuss more on DAO later. Data access object class. Data access object class. The Java class that separates persistence logics from other logics of the application and makes them reusable and flexible to modify is called DAO. Is called DAO class. Fine, boss. With respect to diagram, yeah, it's a basic idea. It's a basic idea. Please concentrate. Okay. So DAO class uses Hibernate API and activates Hibernate framework. B, Hibernate API and activates Hibernate framework. B. Okay, boss. Hibernate framework. The activated Hibernate framework. Okay. Internally uses uses the given Hibernate configurations as inputs, like Hibernate configuration file. Mapping file, entity class, and etc. DAO class again uses Hibernate API. Again uses Hibernate API to develop objects based. I will explain what is there in the configuration file, what is there in the mapping file, all the things. To develop objects based var mapping persistence logic. Okay. The var mapping persistence logic. Var mapping persistence logic makes a Hibernate framework to generate JDBC code with SQL query. JDBC query with SQL query. To complete, to perform persistence operation on database software. E. The generated SQL query executes in database software and manipulates the data of the F generated results come back to application. Generated results come back to application. Understanding my statement, there are not there. Generated results come back to application. Application come back to DAO class. Okay, boss. Come back to DAO. Manipulates. What do you mean by manipulate? Performing code operations. Fine. Manipulates the data of the database software. The data of the database software. Yes, boss. Right. Let's see what is there in Hibernate configuration file. Hibernate configuration file. Everyone should listen with full attention. Hibernate configuration file. Cool. Yeah, listen. Any file name .xml can be taken as Hibernate configuration file. Any file name .xml. Any file name .xml can be taken as Hibernate configuration file. If no file name is specified, no file name is specified, then the Hibernate framework. If no file name is specified, then the Hibernate framework. Then the Hibernate framework. Okay. Then the Hibernate framework takes. Tell me. Hibernate.cfz.xml. Yeah, CFZ also part of the file name to tell that it's a configuration. tell that it's a configuration, because within one application 2-3 XML files will be there to tell that this is mapping file, to tell that it is a configuration file, extra extension in the file name. Okay, CFZ also part of the file name, only XML is the extension. Don't think that okay, this is taking two extension. This is not taking two extension, this is taking single extension only. Are you understanding my statement there or not there? Okay, single extension only. Hibernate.cfz.xml file of class path or build path as a default Hibernate configuration file. If you take other than this file, if you take other than this file, and if you place other than class path, you have to specify file name explicitly. You have to specify file name explicitly. Got it or not there? Okay, now listen. Listen, what we are going to give in this file? What we are going to give in this file? Listen carefully. Hibernate has to generate JDBC SQL query, should send and execute them with the database software. In that process, it has to establish the connection with the database software by locating database software. So this file contains those instructions to Hibernate which are very useful, okay, to locate and establish connection with the database software. Number one. Number two, and also contains information about dialect component which will be used by Hibernate, okay, to generate the JDBC code with SQL queries. To generate the JDBC code with SQL queries. Are you understanding my point there? So final conclusion is what here? This file talks about, okay, where to communicate, using which driver it has to communicate, using which dialect. Dialect is a component in Hibernate which is capable of generating SQL queries, For different databases, different dialects will be there. For Oracle dialect, for MySQL dialect, from other database, other dialect will be there. So here we also mention dialect. We also specify dialect. Come on. So this dialect is database dependent only. But if you specify dialect, accordingly SQL query will be generated. Accordingly, that SQL query will be generated. Are you getting my point there or not there? So ultimate conclusion is, I asked, hey Hibernate, talk to Oracle. Then Hibernate asked, are using which driver, which username, which password? Come on, which password? Okay, tell me what. Tell me what is the dialect I should use to generate the queries? Sir, can I use more than one dialect? For one database, one dialect. If you use two dialects for one database, second one will be overriding the first one. Yes, these details we mention. Yes, these details we mention in configuration file as XML entries. Are you understanding my statement there or not there? So the full and final conclusion from my side is, okay, I asked Hibernate, hey Hibernate, do insert record on so and so database. Then Hibernate will ask which database, using which driver. Okay, I should generate the queries using which dialect. So then we should say, don't worry Hibernate, all the information is there in the configuration file. Go to configuration file, get it and use it. Go to configuration file, simply get it and use it. Enjoyed my point or not there? Come on. Super boss. Yeah, see, tomorrow I want to change to another database. Since you are not writing Java code, since you are writing XML, XML is also some text content. Okay, opening XML and modifying XML file is very easy or not there? Opening XML file and modifying XML file is very, very easy or not? What do you say, boss? So definitely easy process. Are you understanding my point? Okay. Flexible kind info about information about how the Hibernate framework should look should locate and interact should locate and establish the connection with database software that means we specify JDBC driver details. We specify what details here? JDBC driver details. Because to establish the connection with the database software from any Java application, JDBC driver details are required. Yes, we mentioned that. Okay. Right. JDBC driver details. details. Sir, I'm going to use 3 databases during Hibernate. One is Oracle. I'm going to use 3 databases. I'm going to use 3 databases. Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL. Come on. Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL. So first keep Oracle database ready. What database ready? Oracle. Hare, listen here. Listen. You know Hindi. Someone knows Russian. So then there is a need of translator or not there. Similarly, between Java application and database software, bridge is required for connectivity. That is JDBC driver. So Hibernate should use which driver to establish connection with which database. To establish connection with which database will be decided here. Mr. Gaurav Rose, why I should not scold you, tell me. Hibernate is there to talk with RDBMS database software, sir, or NoSQL database software, sir. RDBMS database software. Do you think MongoDB is RDBMS database software? No. When a MongoDB is not RDBMS database software, why are you expecting to talk with MongoDB by using Hibernate? No. Don't expect. Don't expect. Fine. Yes, MongoDB will be covered where in Spring Data module. Where in Spring Data module, I am going to cover MongoDB. Okay. In Spring Data module, I am going to cover MongoDB. Are you getting my point there? Yes. Should locate and establish the connection with the database software. That means we specify JDBC driver details. We specify JDBC driver details like JDBC driver class name, JDBC URL, database username, password, and etc. Okay, boss. Next, we can also specify dialect component details. Optional, actually optional, using which Hibernate generates SQL queries internally. Sir, why optional, sir? Hibernate is very intelligent, very, very intelligent. Based on the driver details you specify, it can pick up the dialect automatically. Okay. Based on the JDBC driver details you specify, it can pick up the details. It can pick up the details, boss. It can pick up the dialect automatically. Okay. Based on, okay, JDBC driver details we specify. Okay, Hibernate framework can pick up the dialect component details. Okay, dialect component details dynamically. Dynamic. So it is optional. It is optional to specify. So it is optional to specify. Array dialect is one component here. One like see, Hibernate is combination of so many classes. So many classes. Are you getting my point there? So one class name is dialect, which is very useful for Hibernate to generate the SQL queries. Tell me, boss, Hibernate can talk to different databases. In all database, SQL queries are same or different are different. So that means Hibernate is using internally one or other component, one or other concept, one or other feature, okay, to generate those SQL queries. Yes, to generate those what? SQL queries. Yes, those details, that is nothing but dialect. That is nothing but dialect. Most of the time you need not to specify the dialect. Okay, based on the driver details you give, they will be picked up. The dialect will be picked up automatically. Understanding my statement? Come on. You will get more optional. I am saying it will be picked up. But at least you should know internally, in Hibernate, who generate SQL queries as per underlying database software, though you are writing everything through objects. Which component? Dialect component. I will talk more exclusively about dialect in the coming days. I'm just introducing what is what. I'm introducing what is what. This file is useful. This file is useful to give common instructions to Hibernate framework. Common instructions to Hibernate framework. Come on. Right. Common instructions to Hibernate framework like enabling auto commit. Enabling caches. Enabling caches. Enabling caches. Enabling query SQL query show. SQL query show. Like this, these are some common instructions also will be there. Hey, I want to do auto commit on all database software. I want to enable caching. I want to enable what? SQL query show. Whatever queries that are generated, I want to this. Array English meaning is not there for dialect. Dialect itself dialect. There is no English meaning for dialect. Yes. Enabling SQL query show. That means we can see generated SQL query. These are common instructions, boss. Not specific to any database, not specific to any JDBC driver. These are common instructions. What instructions? Common instructions. Okay, check that. So this kind of common instructions can be given. So mainly what? Driver details, mandatory. Okay. Component details, dialect details, optional. Come on. Next, miscellaneous details. These are called miscellaneous details. Common instruction. These are also optional to give. If you don't give, also not a problem. They will run with the default behavior. They will run with the default behavior. Yes. Array, keeping those objects in cache is nothing but caching. Keeping objects in cache, using them across the multiple requests is nothing but cache. Ravindra is asking me one question, but Hibernate internal concept is to cache object data. Why need to enable cache again? Array, you have to enable it. It won't do automatically. In Hibernate, we have multiple levels of caching. All caches will not come automatically. We have a query cache, we have a first level cache, we have a second level cache. Only first level cache will be enabled automatically. Remaining caches will be enabled only when you ask to enable. Asking to enable work will be done in the configuration file. Asking to enable work will be done in the configuration file. I hope you are understanding. There are multiple cachings. So one cache will come automatically. What about remaining caches? You have to ask to enable, then only they will come. Then only they will come. Okay, boss. Hibernate configuration file generally contains number one, JDBC properties. JDBC properties. Okay. Sir. Why we need these many caches? We will discuss, Babu. First, that is not our concept now. First, stay in the main topic, Naina. When I launch anyhow caches, I have to convince you why these many caches. Please, that is not our main point. Main point is what? Configuration file. Show some common sense while attending classes. JDBC properties, fine. Hibernate properties. Properties like dialect info. Next, dialect info. Showing SQL, formatting SQL, showing SQL, formatting generated SQL queries. Next, auto generation of DDL. So Hibernate can create the tables dynamically, boss. Auto generation of DDL. Auto generation of DDLs and etc. And etc. Are you getting my point? These are called Hibernate properties. Maybe caching related information. They are specific to Hibernate functionalities. So that's why they are called Hibernate properties. Number three, mapping files. Hibernate mapping file names. I I think you are back. Everyone is back now. Everyone is back now. Come on. Yes. Now listen. JDBC properties are there to tell JDBC driver details. JDBC properties are like JDBC driver details. What is the driver class name? What is the driver class name? What is the URL? What is the table? What is the database username? What is database password, and etc. Hibernate properties are there to give instruction to Hibernate, and we should also specify name of the mapping file. So these are the three details that will be there. These are the three details that will be there in this word configuration file. So can I say one thing? Okay. So these are mandatory, minimum. In every file it will be there. Mandatory. This entire section is optional. If you function, fine. If you don't mention, they will continue internal defaults. Okay, again, specifying mapping file name is also mandatory. Specifying the name of the mapping file also mandatory. In the diagram, what I said, mapping files also will be there or not there. Okay, boss. Now listen. We can give same info by using hibernate.properties file, but that has become legacy. That has become legacy. That has become legacy. Legacy means old. We can use this information through hibernate.properties, but that has become legacy. Now trend is configuration file, and you also prefer working with the configuration file. Right. Next. Guys, come back. Guys, come back. Don't worry. It's another 2-3 minutes. Yes. As key value pairs. As key value pairs. Where keys are fixed. I will show sample. We will develop also. Keys are fixed and values will be changed. Values will be changed based on the database software, comma JDBC driver, comma Hibernate software versions and names we are using. Versions and names and versions we are using. Names and versions we are using. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Everyone got the clarity there or not there? We provide this information as key value pairs, either in the XML file or proper. You will get idea. When I show sample, you will get idea. It's not like that. Keys are fixed. Nearly 1,000 plus keys are there. 1,000 plus keys are there. Are you understanding my point there? And you have to give the value according to, the database software, JDBC driver, and Hibernate software names and versions. If it is Oracle related one, 11.2, 11.2 related information. What is the JDBC driver we are using? That information. What is the Hibernate software version we are using? That information we have to use. That information you have to use. What those are, I will show. What are those keys, sir? I will show. Go to eDrive, go to framework installation, go to project, go to etc, go to hibernate.properties. Don't worry about the name of the file. Just look at this. Just look at this. See here, hypersonic SQL, dialect is changing. Driver class name is this. Username is this. Password is this. Connection URL is this. Similarly for MySQL. Again, things are there or not there. For Oracle, 8i dialect, 9999 dialect, 10G dialect. Is there or not there? Come on. Dialect is optional to specify, you know that. Fine. So, example. C is same as 12C is same as 11G. Don't worry. 12C is same as 11G. Yes. Oracle. These are keys, boss. These are keys. These are keys. These are keys. These are keys. Okay. Driver class name, username, password, URL. Come on. Yes. I'm going to use 11G, but you can have any version. Not a problem. Not at all a problem. So here we are going to use one of them. We use one of these, but optional. We use one of these, but optional. Got it or not? Yes. These are mandatory. JDBC properties mandatory. JDBC properties mandatory. Okay. Listen, I'm showing like this, but actually, okay. Actually, how to write in the form of XML. How you write in the form of XML, we will discuss later. So, home here, hibernate.dialect, username, password, URL. There is no need of multiple URLs here. One URL is sufficient. They have given for different varieties, boss. Nothing else. See, boss, these values. Yeah. These values. Come on. These values will change based on the database software we use, based on the Hibernate version we use, based on the JDBC driver we use. But these keys are fixed keys. But these keys are what? Fixed keys. Come on. I'm showing like this, but I have to write as a XML file information. So when we are developing application, I'll show them as XML file information. I hope you understood. The Hibernate configuration file information can be given as key value pairs, where keys are fixed, but values will be changed based on the database software, driver, and Hibernate software names and version we are using. Name and version are using. Got it or not there? Sir, from where I can collect these things? Collect from Hibernate to home slash project slash etc slash Hibernate dot properties file. Hibernate dot properties file. Yes, I am going like this time, but you have to inside the XML file. How to write them inside the XML file, I will talk later. But while writing XML file also, these keys are fixed, these values are optional. These values are your choice. And this is a dialect part optional. Okay, these are what? JDBC driver details mandatory. JDBC driver details mandatory. Along with this, we should also mention mapping file name. I will talk how to write them XML in the coming days. So day one, I don't want. Okay, next. We develop this configuration file on one per database software basis. On one per database software basis. If our Hibernate application is talking with one database software, then we take one Hibernate configuration file. Okay, otherwise we take multiple configuration files. On one per database software, we take one configuration file on one per database software basis. Yes, yes. If our application is talking with one database software, then we take one Hibernate configuration file. Otherwise, we'll try to take what? Multiple configuration files. I think this is the basic information about Hibernate file. Listen, activating Hibernate framework. Hibernate framework to which database you want to establish connection. So then it says, look in configuration file. Accordingly, you prepare yourself to establish the connection. In that process, we are also using this file to give global instructions to Hibernate. To give global instructions to Hibernate. Are you getting my point there or not there? Like dialect, show SQL, format SQL, and all these things. Yes, at a time we can multiple database softwares. That time we have to take multiple Hibernate configuration file. So we generally take Hibernate configuration file on one per database software basis. What basis? On one per database software basis. Everyone getting my point there or not there? I want reply. At least you understood one what is what. Okay, now let me take few questions from you people. Now clarify your doubts. I think everyone comfortable, at least minimum idea. Minimum idea. Sir, continuous classes are, please tell one joke or sing a song, please. Mr. Venkat Sethi, go and switch on TV. Okay? Or go to YouTube channel, watch Jabardast movie. Jabardast skits are there na, watch them. Worst fellow. You really don't know how to talk with your faculty? Okay. People thinks that they are over smart. I know how to cut the tail of you people. Fine. Let it be, let it be. At least you got idea. You got basic idea. Come on. JDBC started in the evening. Okay, if everything is clear in your brain, everyone type in the chat box, clear. Everyone type in the chat box, clear. Yes, if any confusion is there, don't worry. You will get clarity when I start the coding. When I start the coding. When I start the coding. Slowly, Ra Babu. Slowly, slowly. Sir, what is dialect? Hibernate internally uses dialect component to generate the SQL queries. But SQL queries will change database to database. So by configuring dialect, we are telling to Hibernate, okay, you generate queries according to this database. The dialect values will change database to database. If you don't configure also, no problem. That will be picked up automatically based on the other details you have given. Okay, based on the other details. Array, it's like Hibernate is a framework. Inside that one class, dialect is an internally class, which is a predefined class given by Hibernate, will be used by Hibernate. But you have to specify. You have to specify that's it. You have to specify that's it. Sir, after listening entire Ramayana, Anand Ras, if you say which is good, XML approach, annotation approach, already I have given clarity. Check it out. Check it out. XML driven, annotation driven. Latest used for all projects. Latest used for all projects. I already discussed. In old projects, XML. Yes, dialect is having capability of generating SQL query based on the database software we use. Okay, based on the database software we use. Dialect component is internal part of Hibernate framework having capability to generate SQL query. SQL query to come internally. Okay, based on the database softwares we use. Okay, boss. Based on the database software we use. Fine, listen. What is there in mapping file? I will explain later. Come on, boss. What information is there in the mapping file? I'll come to that. What if Hibernate configuration is used incorrect? Will Hibernate use? No. No, if you write incorrect, it will throw error saying that I don't find that file. If no file name is specified, not even wrong file name, then only it will look for predefined file. File name is fixed, but developing that file is our responsibility. Sir, one configuration can combine with multiple tables, no problem. Using one configuration file, you can talk with any number of database tables in the same database software. Are we going to discuss properties file procedure or just XML and annotation? Yes, we are going to take more concentration on XML and annotation. Maybe one example we will see with properties file. Listen, though it is looking for hibernate.cfg.xml as default configuration file, supplying that file is our responsibility. Only file name it looks as a default name. Developing that file, filling content in that file, supplying that file is our responsibility. I hope now you got a clarity about dialect. Today you don't worry about dialect. I'll talk more on dialect in the coming classes. But one thing is clear, Hibernate generates queries dynamically. Hibernate generates JDBC code dynamically. Hibernate generates tables dynamically. Okay, for all this thing, it needs a support of one component called dialect. It needs the support of one component called dialect. That means whatever we are feeling Hibernate is doing, especially query generation, tables generation, this is originally internally done by dialect component. This is originally internally done by dialect component. It's something like this here. In computer, so many things will be there, but who is actually storing the memory? Hard disk. So hard disk is responsible to store the data. Similarly, Hibernate is having so many services, but query generation service is taken care by whom? Query generation service is taken care by whom? Table creation service is taken care by whom? Dialect part. I hope you are clear on this point. Yes. So when we meet in tomorrow's class, we will discuss more on this diagram only. Thank you. Have a nice time. Yes, I will conduct workshop. Don't worry. Yeah, those who are attending today's class as first class, okay, go to Naresh IT YouTube channel, whatever I have shown, my playlist, and start watching starting 4-5 classes. Start watching for starting 4-5 classes. Thank you. Have a nice time.